So in my opinion, you may be different. I find the general creation and outline process to be so boring. That's why the past few videos, weren't as exciting. We're just blocking this thing out, right? Good news is we are basically done with the block out. We can start getting our extra detail in here now and just keep adding on to the block out. So this video is going to be all about cutters and it's going to be super, super fun. So in hard surface design, we use booleans all the time. A lot of people, especially beginners, are scared of booleans. They're taught the traditional subsurf techniques and they'll smooth out their object and then use a boolean and the mesh will just go crazy and be glitchy. Fortunately, in this course, we're not going to be using those crazy old school techniques. They're good for certain things, but hard surface is usually not one of them. So if we use booleans, we're going to show you exactly how to use them efficiently, practically, and how to make sure your mesh doesn't go crazy when you use them. So the first thing I would like to do is pull this front part out a bit more. This one's just too tiny for my liking. So I'm going to tab into face mode, and if we select these three faces and pull them, it stretches this edge right here, which is no good. So as a matter of fact, what we can do is just go into wireframe with the Z key and instead box select all that area and make sure you're in vertex or edge mode for that. Box select all of those. Because if we're in face, there's no face right here to select, so just make sure you're in vert or edge mode, and then we'll grab this on the X and just pull it a little bit further forward. So now we just have some more space there. I think that's a lot nicer. And then what I think I'll do is tab into edge mode, select this guy, and just give him a little bit of a bevel. You could round it out if you want, but chamfers are honestly just some of my favorite things in hard surface. I absolutely love chamfers. I think they look super, super cool. But yeah, I'm just going to add that in. So now what I want to do is cut a hole in the center just to make it look cool. So usually if you use add-ons like box cutter, you can just cut straight through and trace the shape. But in vanilla, it's super important to understand, one, the fundamentals of how booleans work, two, just how you would do it the old school way. So I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to be doing it, doing the cutters in this course, that is. I'm going to press Shift A, go to Mesh, and then we're going to use, I tend to use a single vert. Once again, that's using the extra mesh add-on if you don't have this. So add a single vert, make sure we're in vert mode, and then we're just going to position the vertex. We can't see it, so just move it out front. Position it somewhere over here. Maybe pull it down a bit actually, like that, and then I'm just going to start kind of tracing out a shape, some sort of hole shape. So I'm going to press the E key, Z to constrain it, like that, extrude across the X, and then I'm going to change to increment snap. So now I can press E and then hold Control and snap at these increments. I'm not sure what the exact degree is, maybe like, I don't know, 30-degree increments, whatever it is. Anyways, we're just going to cut to about here. Maybe just pull it up one more. That should be okay, I think. And then extrude across the X, hold Control. Extrude again and hold Control. Something like this. And then I'm just going to take these two vertices and move them over a bit so we have some more space. And then maybe, I don't know, move this one about here. And then we'll just fill this in, I guess. Something like that should be okay. Okay, so now at this point we can select everything and press the F key to fill that in. So now we're just going to extrude this guy straight across, right? Just like that. So it's basically cutting straight through. And we want to cut this object from this one. So basically just using a simple difference boolean. Now once again, make sure you turned on the bool tool add-on, B-O-O-L, under add-ons. Tick that guy on. I actually don't even have it on right now, so let me go in there. We'll save the preferences. And at this point, if we select the cutter and shift select the base of the weapon, we can press Control and minus on the number pad. Now a lot of people make this mistake. They press Control minus on the keyboard. That zooms in and out. Make sure you're doing it on the number pad. I get a lot of questions about that, so just make sure you don't miss that. And then at this point you can make any additional changes you want. You could scale this or change the origin, right click origin to geometry. You can make that bigger if you want, scale it on the X, but for now I think this is actually okay. Now these angles are super harsh and don't look good, so what I'm actually going to do is tab into edge mode, and I'm just going to select all the edges of this cutter. I'll just select all of them. Sometimes I select the wrong one because I'm not paying attention, but yeah, I'll select all these guys, and we'll press Control B and just scroll up on the scroll wheel. Give us some nice smooth bevels here, maybe up to about there. Now I have 11 segments. I don't really know if 11 is even necessary. That's probably overkill. Probably something like 7 or 8 should be okay. And awesome, look at this. Now we have a cool looking cut right in the middle there. Now one thing I think I will do is take this entire right hand side basically. So I'm just going to use the circle select tool in wireframe and just paint those in. And I'm just going to move this over some more. I just think having a little bit more space would look cleaner. Maybe around there somewhere should be okay. And then pull this up. There we go. And now we're going to do an additional cutter design on this back piece here. So same idea, we're going to press Shift A, add in a mesh, and then single vert, add a single vert, vertex mode, the usual drill. And let's just make sure this is in the front so we can see it. And at this point, I'm just going to extrude across the x-axis, maybe pull it up some more. And then here, E and then hold Control to keep it at an angle. And then I'll just extrude this back on the x-axis and just fill in all these vertices with the F key. And now we can just extrude across the, well, I guess it's the local Z in this case. Just press E, extrude through. So now we have this as a cutter. And once again with Bool Tool, if we're in object mode, we can shift select whatever piece we want to cut from and then use the Bool Tool. So in this one we used a difference boolean with Control minus on the number pad. On this one we're going to do a little bit of a different design. We're going to use something called the slice operation. So if you press Control and / on your number pad, you're going to get this thing. And this is super cool. This is a slice, just slice straight through it basically. Now there's so many cool designs you can do with this, and you're going to see in just a few lectures later how exactly this is a super beneficial Boolean operation for us. So real quick, I want to show you something really cool that you can do with this slice operation. I use this so much in hard surface, and I just want to show you why it's a cool operation to use, just so I'm not leaving you in the dark as to why we did this. There's actually a reason behind it. One, it looks cool because we have two separate objects and we have this little ridge through the middle. And that'll become more emphasized once we add a bevel to this entire piece, but that'll be later on down the line. So let me hide this cutter real quick. So with slices, you can do really cool effects like this. So say I wanted a little notch right in here, just a little hollow area. That's a really cool hard surface design. You'll see it in a lot of pieces, especially weaponry. So maybe what I would do is, you know, add it in a single vert. And you don't have to copy me, by the way, just watch. Maybe I add in a single vert and kind of use this as a custom cutter. Fill that in, extrude through. Now check this out. This is just absolutely one of my favorite things to do. So just make sure this guy is completely through it, not like right at the edge. Make sure it's actually coming through. So if I were to use this as a cutter on this piece, for example, Control minus, check this out. We get a little notch that kind of gives us that nice hard surface type of design. So I could even go in here and duplicate this in edit mode, add in another little notch over here, and look at that. It just looks really cool. And you can imagine if you have a lot of these on your model, it really starts to come together and they're super easy to add in. So this is a very practical use of the slice operation because it allows us to work with two separate objects. And as you can see, these Boolean pieces don't affect this piece because we never selected this piece when we performed a difference. So if I were to, you know, select this piece instead, we'd get a completely different outcome. We'd get that instead. So that's why slices are useful. We have two separate objects and we can choose which one we want to cut from, like that. So one thing I want to do real quick is organize the scene just so everything is easy to access before we end this video. So we're going to be adding in a lot of cutters in this course, so it's always good to have a collection for those cutters. So I'm going to go up here to the scene collection, right click, new collection, and in here I'm just going to call this cutters. So now what we can do is go around to our cutter objects. If you can't see them, just unhide them with the eyeball key. So we're going to press the M key, move that to the cutters collection, then we'll select this one, M key, move that to the cutters collection. So now when we don't want to see the cutters, and most times we don't, we can just go to the cutters collection, turn off the eyeball, and we don't want to render them either, so turn off the rendering option as well. By the way, if you can't see this little camera, you just go up here and tick that on. That basically just tells Blender, hey, don't render that when we make our final design. That's later on down the line though. Okay, so yeah, in this video we made some nice extra designs here. We used a boolean in the center, and we used a slice operation down here. So you can see that as we start to piece together booleans and little simple designs, it really starts to come together into something bigger. And once we get to our secondary and tertiary designs, it just gets even better throughout that process. So we're going to end the video here and start again in the next one.